The observation deck of the Galactic Confederation's central hub was a marvel of engineering, a perfect circle of transparent alloys that curved like a gossamer bubble against the backdrop of deep space. Holographic displays flickered with the accumulated knowledge of 1,000 civilizations, their soft blue light casting long shadows across the faces of the most powerful beings in known space. Jack Thompson stood perfectly still, his posture relaxed yet charged with an energy that made the alien representatives nervous. He wore a simple dark gray uniform that seemed almost deliberately unremarkable, a stark contrast to the elaborate, shimmering attire of the other delegates. Behind him, a data crystal pulsed with an ancient rhythm, its surface etched with patterns that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. Vorlak, the Kreltheri historian, moved with the fluid grace of a being composed of multiple interconnected tendrils. His body was a living tapestry of bioluminescent segments that changed color with his emotional state. Right now, they flickered between deep purple of confusion and an angry crimson of rising tension. "This cannot be possible," Vorlak hissed, his translation device rendering his complex language into crisp, almost clinical standard Galactic. "Your documentation contradicts 3 millennia of established historical records." Jack allowed himself a small smile. It was the kind of smile that suggested he knew something profound. The smile of someone holding an impossible secret. The holographic display behind him continued to cycle through impossible images, star systems that shouldn't exist, archaeological sites with technologies that defied current understanding, quantum signatures that suggested multiple layers of reality existing simultaneously. "Impossibility," Jack responded, "is just a failure of imagination." Around the circular chamber, representatives from hundreds of species shifted uncomfortably. The Zularian diplomats, beings of pure energy contained within intricate crystalline exoskeletons, hummed with nervous vibrations. The silicon-based Kreztok delegation clicked and whirred, their mechanical components processing the implications of Jack's presentation. A massive holographic projection expanded, showing a complex network of stellar movements. Red lines connected distant star systems, creating a web that looked like nothing so much as a complex neural network. Each connection point pulsed with a soft blue light, creating the impression of a living, breathing system. "What you're seeing," Jack explained, his voice calm and methodical, "is not just a map of stellar movements. It's a record of interventions." Whispers erupted across the chamber. Interventions were serious business in galactic politics. They suggested deliberate manipulation of cosmic events. Vorlak's tendrils twisted into what might have been an expression of extreme agitation. "Interventions require immense technological capability. Your species has been spacefaring for less than 5 centuries. By our records, you should be primitive," Jack interrupted. The word hung in the air, heavy with implication. The data crystal behind him suddenly pulsed with an intense light. For a fraction of a second, the holographic displays flickered, showing glimpses of impossible technologies. Quantum computers that looked like living organisms, stellar engineering projects so massive they could reshape entire solar systems, genetic structures that suggested deliberate, patient design. And then, just as quickly, the images were gone. The Galactic Confederation had spent millennia believing they understood the universe. They had mapped civilizations, tracked evolutionary paths, created comprehensive databases of species development. Their understanding was built on layers of careful research, centuries of observation, intricate models of cosmic progression. Jack Thompson was about to show them how wrong they were. "What we're presenting today," he said, his voice cutting through the stunned silence, "is evidence that everything you know about galactic history is fundamentally incorrect." The data crystal continued to pulse. Its surface seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by an unseen current. Something ancient stirred within its quantum lattice, a message waiting to be decoded, a truth waiting to be revealed. Outside the observation deck, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The research station orbited a dying neutron star, its pulsing electromagnetic waves creating a rhythmic backdrop to Emily Rodriguez's most crucial discovery. Holographic displays danced around her, filling the cramped laboratory with ghostly blue light that flickered and shifted like living memory. She had been tracking an anomaly for years, a series of quantum signatures that appeared and disappeared across multiple star systems. Most researchers would have dismissed it as random noise, but Emily saw patterns where others saw chaos. Her current workspace was a testament to her obsessive research. Star charts covered every available surface, connected by thin crimson lines that seemed to pulse with their own internal logic. Quantum analysis equipment hummed softly, processing terabytes of data every second. Fragments of recovered artifacts, each no larger than a human fingernail, were carefully preserved in quantum-sealed containers. The latest piece had come from an unexpected source. A deep space mining operation near the Carina Nebula had uncovered a fragment of technology unlike anything in known galactic records. Its material composition defied current understanding. A complex matrix of molecular structures that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Emily rotated the artifact under a quantum-resolution microscope. Its surface was etched with patterns that seemed to change when viewed from different angles. Mathematical equations danced across its surface, complex formulas that suggested computational capabilities far beyond current technological understanding. "What are you?" she whispered, her fingers hovering just above the artifact. A notification chimed. An encrypted transmission had arrived through her personal quantum communication channel, a network so secure that even the Galactic Confederation's most advanced cryptographers couldn't crack it. The message was brief, just a set of coordinates and a single line of text. Verification complete. Proceed with caution. Her research assistant, a synthetic intelligence named Walker, materialized as a holographic projection. "The molecular analysis is complete," he reported. "The artifact contains quantum entanglement markers that predate known civilizations by approximately 3.2 million years." Emily leaned back, her mind racing. 3.2 million years was an eternity in cosmic terms. It suggested a level of technological sophistication that challenged everything modern science believed about technological evolution. The research station itself was a marvel of human engineering. Constructed at the edge of explored space, it existed in a legal gray area, technically part of human jurisdiction, but far enough from central governments to operate with minimal oversight. Emily had deliberately chosen this location for its isolation and advanced monitoring capabilities. Another artifact lay on her examination table. This one had been recovered from the core of an abandoned space station near the galactic rim. Its design suggested multiple layers of functionality, a computational device that was also a storage medium, a communication tool, and potentially a form of life support. Walker's holographic form shifted, projecting additional analysis. The computational matrix suggests recursive self-improvement capabilities that exceed current technological limitations. The design implies a form of technological evolution that is closer to biological adaptation than mechanical engineering. Emily's fingers traced the artifact's surface. Each touch seemed to trigger subtle changes in its molecular structure, as if the device was responding to her presence. A series of quantum-encrypted messages began to arrive. Fragments of data from research stations across multiple star systems. Each message contained pieces of a larger puzzle: archaeological findings, unexplained technological anomalies, genetic markers that suggested a level of cosmic engineering far beyond current understanding. "Someone doesn't want this discovered," Emily muttered, watching the complex encryption algorithms dance across her displays. The neutron star outside pulsed. Its electromagnetic waves created complex interference patterns that seemed to resonate with the artifacts in her laboratory. For a moment, Emily could almost see a pattern, a vast, intricate design that stretched across millions of years of cosmic history. Something was waiting to be discovered, something that would change everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. Walker's holographic form flickered. "Incoming transmission," he announced. "Priority 1. highest security clearance. Emily Rodriguez took a deep breath. Whatever was coming, she knew her life was about to change forever. Dr. Michael Carter's laboratory looked like a cathedral of scientific possibility. Massive holographic displays surrounded him, each one pulsing with intricate genetic sequences that seemed to breathe and move with an almost living intelligence. The walls were lined with quantum sequencers, devices so advanced they could analyze genetic material at levels previously thought impossible. He had been working for 72 hours straight, surviving on synthesized coffee and pure scientific determination. Something was different about this latest batch of genetic samples, something that would change everything humanity understood about life itself. The samples had come from an extraordinary source. During a routine xenorchaeological expedition, researchers had discovered a cache of preserved biological material in a previously unexplored sector of the Orion Arm. Initial scans suggested the samples were millions of years old, yet they displayed a level of molecular preservation that defied all known scientific understanding. Michael zoomed in on a particular genetic sequence. The holographic display expanded, revealing layers of molecular complexity that seemed to shift and change with each millisecond of analysis. What looked like simple genetic code was actually a complex computational matrix, a form of information storage that was simultaneously biological and technological. "This isn't evolution," he muttered to himself. "This is engineering." A notification chimed. An encrypted communication from Emily Rodriguez, the archaeological researcher who had been tracking similar anomalies across multiple star systems. The message was brief, but charged with significance. Confirmed genetic markers, matched to previous findings. Michael's assistant, a quantum AI named Harper, materialized as a holographic projection. "Analysis complete," she reported. Genetic markers present in these samples match fragments found in archaeological sites across 17 different star systems. The implications were staggering. These genetic markers suggested a level of cosmic engineering that went far beyond simple biological evolution. They were looking at evidence of deliberate, systematic design, a form of life creation that spanned entire galaxies. Another display activated, showing comparative genetic analyses. Side by side, genetic sequences from seemingly unrelated species revealed impossible similarities. A marine organism from a methane-based ecosystem near the galactic core shared fundamental genetic markers with a silicon-based life form discovered in the outer spiral arms. Species that should have been completely unrelated showed signs of a common underlying genetic architecture. Michael leaned closer to the display. The genetic sequences seemed to pulse with an almost conscious rhythm. Each time he thought he understood a pattern, it would shift, revealing new layers of complexity. "These aren't just genetic markers," he said slowly. "These are computational structures." Harper's holographic form nodded. "Preliminary analysis suggests the genetic sequences function as a form of distributed computing system. Each genetic segment contains multiple layers of information, biological instructions, computational algorithms, and what appears to be a form of memory storage." The laboratory's security systems suddenly engaged. Quantum encrypted firewalls activated, creating multiple layers of protection around Michael's research. Someone, or something, was trying to access his data. "Block and trace," Michael commanded. Harper's holographic form flickered. "Attempted intrusion detected. Origin point. Unregistered quantum communication channel. Source location. Indeterminate." Michael's mind raced. The genetic samples represented something far more profound than a scientific discovery. They were evidence of a cosmic-scale intervention, a form of life engineering that suggested intentional design across multiple star systems. A new holographic display activated. This one showed a three-dimensional representation of the genetic markers, rotating slowly and revealing complex interconnections. It looked less like a biological diagram and more like a map of a vast, intricate network. "We're not looking at the results of evolution," Michael said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We're looking at the source code of life itself." The laboratory's quantum sequencers continued their relentless analysis. With each passing moment, they revealed more of the impossible truth. Humanity was about to discover that their understanding of life, of evolution, of their own place in the universe, was fundamentally incorrect. Outside the laboratory, the first light of dawn began to break. A new day that would change everything humanity thought they knew about their cosmic origins. The Emergency Galactic Council Chamber was a masterpiece of architectural impossibility. Suspended in the void of deep space, its transparent walls shifted between complete transparency and intricate holographic displays. Gravity generators created multiple independent zones, allowing species with radically different physiological requirements to coexist in a single space. Jack Thompson stood at the center of a circular platform that slowly rotated, giving every representative a perfect view of his presentation. Behind him, massive holographic displays flickered with evidence that would shatter everything the assembled civilizations believed about their own history. Qatar, the Androndan Prime Minister, rose to her full height. Her crystalline body caught the light, refracting it into 1,000 brilliant colors that reflected her emotional state. Anger, fear, and disbelief warred within her prismatic form. "Explain," she demanded, her translation device rendering her complex language into crisp standard Galactic. "How can you claim to have guided our evolutionary paths?" The chamber fell silent. Representatives from over 300 intelligent species leaned forward, their various appendages, sensory organs, and communication devices focused entirely on Jack. He activated the first holographic display. It showed a complex network of stellar movements, with thin lines connecting distant star systems. Each connection point pulsed with a soft blue light, creating the impression of a living, breathing system. "What you're seeing," Jack explained, "is not just a map of stellar movements. It's a record of carefully managed interventions." Whispers erupted across the chamber. The Krestok delegation, silicon-based beings whose mechanical components whirred with agitation, began a rapid-fire exchange of quantum-encrypted communications. Vorlak, the Krell-Theri historian, pushed forward. His bioluminescent tendrils twisted into complex patterns of challenge and disbelief. "Interventions require technological capabilities beyond anything we've measured. Your species has been spacefaring for less than 5 centuries." Jack's smile was calm, almost patient. "Measured by your understanding." Another holographic display activated. This one showed a series of critical evolutionary moments across multiple species. A genetic mutation here, a planetary climate shift there, technological breakthroughs that seemed random but showed subtle, almost imperceptible guidance. "We didn't create you," Jack said, his voice cutting through the chamber's tension. "We created the conditions for you to create yourselves." The Zularian diplomats, beings of pure energy contained within intricate crystalline exoskeletons, began to vibrate with an intense, almost musical frequency. Their communication was so advanced that most species could only perceive it as a deep, resonant hum. Qatar's crystalline form shifted to a deep, angry red. "You're claiming to have manipulated the entire galactic ecosystem, guided the evolution of entire civilizations." Jack's next presentation was devastating. Historical records from multiple species began to play simultaneously. Each showed moments of potential extinction, moments that had been quietly averted through seemingly random interventions. A chlorophyllian representative, a being composed of complex plant-like neural networks, spoke for the first time. "The solar flare that should have sterilized our homeworld, the asteroid that should have destroyed our civilization, the genetic bottleneck that should have ended our species." Quantum encrypted files began to stream across the chamber's displays. Archaeological evidence, genetic records, stellar engineering projects so massive they reshaped entire solar systems. "We've been watching," Jack said simply. "Protecting. Guiding." The chamber erupted into chaos. Translation devices struggled to keep up with the explosion of linguistic and emotional responses. Some species showed anger. Others displayed a growing sense of awe. Vorlak's tendrils twisted into what might have been an expression of total comprehension. "You're not just another spacefaring civilization," he said slowly. "You're the architects of our existence." Jack's final presentation was the most shocking. A comprehensive map of galactic evolution, showing how seemingly random events were actually carefully managed interventions. Entire civilizations had been guided, protected, allowed to develop along carefully managed paths. "We didn't control your destinies," Jack explained. "We created the possibility of your destinies." Outside the chamber, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Millions of years of hidden history hung in the balance, waiting to be understood. The Emergency Galactic Council would never be the same. Emily Rodriguez stood before a holographic projection that defied conventional understanding. The memory banks she had accessed were unlike anything in known scientific records, a quantum archive that seemed to breathe with living information. The research facility hung in the delicate space between known star systems, surrounded by quantum shielding that could deflect even the most advanced scanning technologies. Here, hidden from the prying eyes of the Galactic Confederation, humanity's deepest secrets began to unfold. Each holographic layer peeled back like the pages of a living book. Memories stretched across impossible timescales, glimpses of civilizations that had risen and fallen long before the first multicellular organisms emerged on Earth. Quantum-encoded records showed interventions so subtle, so profound, that they made current understandings of evolution look like children's drawings. "We were never just one thing," Emily murmured, her fingers tracing the holographic displays. Her eye assistant, Walker, materialized beside her. "Analyzing primary memory cluster," he reported. "Temporal range exceeds current scientific models by approximately 4.6 billion years." The memories were not linear. They existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, a complex web of potential realities, carefully managed and guided. Emily watched as entire planetary ecosystems were nudged, guided, protected, not through direct intervention, but through the most delicate of touches. A cluster of memories showed the emergence of tool use across multiple species on different planets. What appeared random was actually a carefully orchestrated progression. The volcanic eruption here, a climatic shift there, each event precisely calculated to push developing intelligences toward critical evolutionary moments. "We didn't create life," Emily said, understanding dawning in her voice. "We created the conditions for life to create itself." Walker's holographic form shifted, processing massive amounts of data. Computational analysis suggests a distributed consciousness that exists beyond traditional biological limitations. Not a single species, but a complex network of evolutionary architects. The memory banks revealed something even more extraordinary. Humanity was not confined to a single point in space or time. They existed as a quantum consciousness, capable of observing, guiding, and subtly influencing evolutionary paths across multiple dimensions. Fragments of universal resets played out in the holographic displays, moments when entire cosmic ecosystems had been on the brink of total collapse. Interventions so precise, so carefully managed, that entire civilizations had been saved without ever knowing they were being protected. A series of quantum-encrypted files began to decrypt. These were the true records of human intervention, not as a single species, but as a distributed network of cosmic gardeners. Emily washed a memory of early microbial life on a distant ocean world. A carefully placed mineral deposit, a slight adjustment in atmospheric composition, seemingly random events that would push the developing ecosystem toward complexity. "We've been doing this forever," she whispered. The facility around her seemed to pulse with a living intelligence. Quantum processors worked at speeds beyond human comprehension, managing vast networks of information that spanned multiple realities. Walker's analysis continued. Evidence suggests multiple universal reset events. Humanity, in its true form, has preserved knowledge through methods incomprehensible to shorter-lived civilizations. More memories unfolded. The emergence of tool use, the development of complex communication, the first steps toward space exploration across hundreds of different species. Each moment carefully guided, protected, nudged toward greater complexity. Emily realized they were looking at something far more profound than a history of intervention. This was a history of potential, of carefully managed cosmic evolution. "We didn't control their destinies," she said, echoing Jack Thompson's earlier statement. "We created the possibility of their destinies." The quantum memory banks continued to pulse. Millions of years of hidden history hung in perfect, delicate balance, waiting to be understood. Outside the research facility, space itself seemed to hold its breath, a living testament to the complex, beautiful design that had been quietly unfolding for billions of years. Dr. Michael Carter's research complex occupied a unique space, both physically and conceptually. Located in a quantum-shielded pocket between star systems, the facility existed in a state of perpetual observation and analysis. Massive quantum processors hummed with an almost living energy, parsing through layers of cosmic information that defied conventional understanding. The latest data stream revealed something profound. It wasn't just about technological intervention or genetic guidance. Humanity's true purpose was far more complex, a form of cosmic gardening that went beyond simple preservation or manipulation. "We're looking at systemic evolution," Michael muttered, his fingers dancing across holographic displays that showed intricate networks of planetary development. Harper, his quantum AI assistant, materialized beside him. "Analyzing comprehensive intervention patterns," she reported. "Complexity levels exceed previous computational models by a factor of 10,287. The displays showed a tapestry of cosmic development. Not a linear progression, but a complex, multidimensional web of potential. Each intervention was like a careful brushstroke, subtle, nearly imperceptible, yet fundamentally transformative. A series of planetary development sequences began to play out. Michael watched as seemingly random events created precise evolutionary pathways. A minor asteroid redirect here, a slight atmospheric adjustment there. Genetic mutations that appeared spontaneous, but were actually carefully orchestrated. The purpose wasn't control, it was possibility. Michael zoomed in on a specific sequence, a methane-based ecosystem on a distant world, teetering on the edge of complexity. The intervention was so subtle that it would appear completely natural to any external observer. A mineral deposit, a slight temperature variation, a quantum fluctuation that introduced just enough complexity to push the ecosystem toward sentience. "We don't create life," he said, echoing the insights from previous research. "We create the conditions for life to create itself." Harper's holographic form shifted, processing massive amounts of data. Intervention analysis complete. Detected 2,347 critical moments of potential extinction, prevented across 879 different planetary ecosystems. The true scale of human intervention began to emerge. They weren't conquerors. They weren't even traditional guardians. They were cosmic architects of potential, beings capable of seeing the most intricate pathways of evolutionary development. A new display activated. This one showed the interconnected nature of cosmic evolution. Thin lines connected seemingly unrelated star systems, revealing a complex network of subtle interventions. Each connection point pulsed with a soft, almost organic light. Michael realized they were looking at something far more profound than a history of technological achievement. This was a history of possibility, of carefully managed cosmic potential. The quantum processors continued their relentless analysis. Layers of information revealed themselves, each more complex than the last. Humanity's true nature was not about direct control, but about creating the most intricate possible pathways for life to develop. "We're not managing outcomes," Michael said softly. "We're managing potential." Harper's analysis continued. Detected recursive self-improvement patterns in multiple planetary ecosystems. Interventions create conditions for increased complexity without direct manipulation. The research complex seemed to pulse with a living intelligence. Quantum shields rippled with energy that was almost conscious. Outside, the void of space held its breath, a silent witness to the most profound scientific discovery in cosmic history. A quantum-encrypted communication arrived, coordinates for a previously uncharted star system. Initial scans suggested something extraordinary, an ecosystem that showed signs of the most delicate, most precise evolutionary guidance. "Prepare research probe," Michael commanded. Harper's holographic form nodded. Quantum entanglement drive activated. Stealth protocols engage. The probe would be invisible, undetectable. A silent observer in the grand cosmic garden that humanity had been cultivating for millions of years. Michael understood now. Their purpose was not about control. It was about possibility, about creating the most intricate, most beautiful pathways for life to explore its own potential. Outside the research complex, space stretched into infinity, a canvas of endless possibility, waiting to be explored. The Galactic Communication Hub sprawled across an artificial construct that defied conventional understanding of space and physics. Massive quantum communication arrays stretched like crystalline spider webs, capturing and transmitting information across thousands of light-years in microseconds. Jack Thompson stood at the central hub, surrounded by holographic representations of every major galactic civilization. The revelations were spreading faster than any communication network could manage, a quantum cascade of understanding that would forever change how intelligent life perceived its own existence. Some species raged. The Kreltheri delegation's bioluminescent tendrils flickered with intense shades of crimson and deep purple, colors that represented profound betrayal and mounting anger. Representatives from the Silicon Confederacy began complex algorithmic protests, their computational language creating intricate patterns of digital dissent. "You've been watching us," Qatar, the Andromedan Prime Minister, repeated. Her crystalline form refracted light in patterns that suggested deep emotional turbulence, guiding us, manipulating our entire evolutionary trajectory. Jack's response was measured. Not manipulating, he corrected. Protecting, guiding, creating possibilities. Another holographic display activated. This one showed critical moments of potential extinction across multiple civilizations. A solar flare diverted. An asteroid redirected. Genetic mutations that appeared random but were carefully orchestrated quantum interventions. The chlorophyllian representative, a being of complex plant-like neural networks, spoke softly. "The moments we thought were chance. The near extinctions we survived. They were all part of your design." Quantum encrypted files continued to stream across communication channels, archaeological evidence, genetic records, stellar engineering projects so massive they reshaped entire solar systems. Each piece of evidence told a story of careful, patient cosmic management. Emily Rodriguez joined the transmission, her research adding another layer of complexity to the revelation. "We didn't control your destinies," she explained. "We created the conditions for your destinies to emerge." The communication hub trembled with the weight of understanding. Millions of years of hidden history hung in delicate balance. Every civilization was simultaneously confronting the same profound truth. They were not alone. They had never been alone. Vorlak, the Kreltheri historian, pushed forward. His multiple sensory appendages processed the information with remarkable speed. "You're not just another spacefaring civilization," he said, his translation device rendering a tone of profound respect. "You're the architects of our collective existence." Holographic timelines expanded, showing the most intricate web of cosmic interventions. Each connection point pulsed with a soft blue light, a living network of potential and protection. The Silicon Confederacy's primary computational matrix began a complex analysis. Quintillions of calculations processed the implications in microseconds. Their conclusion was both terrifying and beautiful. Humanity had been playing a game of cosmic chess, thinking millions of moves ahead. "We prevented universal extinction," Jack explained, "not through direct control, but by creating the most intricate possible pathways for life to develop." Reactions varied across different species. The energy-based Zularian diplomats began to vibrate with a resonant frequency that suggested a mix of awe and growing comprehension. Mechanical species ran complex probability matrices. Organic civilizations processed the emotional weight of the revelation. Emily's research added another layer of complexity. We exist beyond traditional biological limitations, she explained. A distributed consciousness capable of observing, guiding, and subtly influencing evolutionary paths across multiple dimensions. The communication hub became a nexus of cosmic understanding. Every transmission, every holographic display, every quantum-encrypted file told the same story. A story of protection, of possibility, of patient cosmic gardening. "We didn't create you," Jack repeated, his voice cutting through the complex emotional landscape. "We created the conditions for you to create yourselves." Outside the communication hub, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Millions of years of hidden history hung in perfect, delicate balance, waiting to be understood. The universe would never be the same. The quantum observatory hung in the most impossible of spaces, a location that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional coordinates. Jack Thompson stood at its central viewing platform, watching as the fabric of galactic understanding continued to reshape itself. Holographic displays tracked the cascading waves of comprehension spreading across thousands of civilizations. Each moment of revelation was like a quantum ripple, changing everything it touched. The universe was rewriting its own understanding of itself. Emily Rodriguez appeared as a quantum projection, her form shimmering with the complex energy of distributed consciousness. "Monitoring continues," she reported. "Civilizations are processing the revelation at varying rates." The Galactic Confederation had transformed overnight. What was once a bureaucratic network of species control was now becoming something far more complex, a collaborative platform of cosmic exploration. Species that had been rivals for millennia now found themselves united by a fundamental truth. They were part of a much larger design. Jack watched the displays carefully. Each civilization was processing the revelation differently. The Krell approached it mathematically. Their historians were constructing complex probability matrices, tracking every known intervention point. Each discovered moment of guidance was like a sacred mathematical equation to them, proof of a design far more intricate than they had ever imagined. The chlorophyllian networks, beams of complex plant-like consciousness, understood it almost immediately. Their distributed neural networks resonated with the concept of patient, long-term guidance. They saw the cosmic interventions as a form of ecological management, a delicate balance of potential and protection. Mechanical civilizations ran endless simulations. The Silicon Confederacy created quantum models that attempted to map the full extent of human intervention. Each simulation revealed more complexity, more subtle guidance than they had previously understood. "We are not gods," Jack explained during a universal broadcast. "We are gardeners, architects of possibility." Michael Carter's research continued to provide deeper insights. The quantum memory banks revealed layers of intervention so subtle, so profound, that they challenged every previous understanding of evolution and cosmic development. "Look," he would say, zooming into a holographic display, "not a single moment of direct control. Always potential, always possibility." The Zularian diplomats, beings of pure energy, began to resonate at frequencies that suggested deep comprehension. Their communication became a complex symphony of understanding, broadcasting across multiple dimensional planes. Emily's distributed consciousness tracked every moment of revelation. "We've been waiting," she explained to Jack, "waiting for the moment when they could understand." The quantum observatory pulsed with an energy that was almost alive. Outside its quantum-shielded walls, space itself seemed to breathe with newfound understanding. Reactions varied across the galaxy. Some species felt betrayal. Others felt a profound sense of protection. Many felt both simultaneously, a complex emotional landscape that reflected the intricate nature of the revelation. "We didn't control your path," Jack repeated in transmission after transmission. "We created the conditions for your path to emerge." The most profound changes happened quietly. Civilizations that had been on the brink of conflict found new ways of communication. Species that had seen each other as threats now recognized their shared cosmic heritage. The interventions that had seemed random now revealed themselves as carefully managed pathways of potential cooperation. Michael's research continued to provide deeper insights. "Look at the connections," he would say, showing holographic displays that revealed the most intricate cosmic web ever conceived. Not control, potential. The quantum memory banks continued to reveal their secrets. Millions of years of careful guidance, moments of potential extinction prevented, evolutionary pathways carefully nudged toward complexity and understanding. Emily's distributed consciousness captured every moment of revelation. "We are not separate," she explained. "We are part of a larger design." Jack watched the displays, understanding the true depth of their mission. They were not conquerors. They were not even traditional guardians. They were architects of possibility, beings capable of seeing the most intricate pathways of cosmic development. Outside the quantum observatory, space stretched into infinity, a canvas of endless potential, waiting to be explored. The universe would never be the same.